and guests. So tonight is my icebreaker speech, and I am going to give you some insight of who I am and what I do and how I came to be standing here tonight. So it started about 20 years ago, and I was always in the doctor's surgery, always sick. There was always something wrong with me. And I was just, it was getting to the stage where I was constant antibiotics, constant painkillers, and not being helped to move through what was happening with me. So I decided to turn to natural therapies. I went to a naturopath, and the first thing I did was cut out sugar, which just made huge changes in my life. And then I went to another naturopath, and I went on to diet and macrobiotics. And that was just amazing. She said to me, I will get you waking up in the morning and wanting to get out of bed. And I went, yeah, right. Anyway, one Saturday morning when I was sitting up in bed, Barry was still asleep, and I'm eating my apple going, 7 o'clock, let's get up, let's get going. I thought, hey, she was right. So my body healed really quickly. That then led me on to looking at the emotional. And I did some seminars, I did one seminar on personal growth. And it was just the basic tools of life, learning about responsibility and looking at myself. And that was huge, because that showed me what I was doing to myself and others in my life. And I came out of there, did a workshop, had sorted it all out, felt self-righteous, thought, right, yes, right. Yeah, bit of Fahrenheit. However, I was in for a big shock. I stayed with them for about 2 years doing their different workshops and progressing myself, and I did some leading. Anyway, at that time, having done all this work with naturopaths, I was interested in getting into alternative therapies in some way, and I started doing like aromatherapy, and I did reflexology, and then I met a homeopath who was a German, and he said to me, right, I'll take you under my wing, and we'll get you doing, next year I want you doing anatomy and physiology, and I want you to do a correspondence course on this and that, and you're going to be working with me. And I said, and will I have time to breathe and eat during that year? Anyway, someone said to me, I don't sort of see you as a studious type, sitting down studying. And I thought, no, you're right. And at that time, having done the emotional, I was ready to open up with the spiritual. And there was a spiritual school starting in Auckland. So I got into that, and that was great. I had 4 years there, and that opened me up to working with energy and reading energy, opened up my psychic abilities. And I learned a lot of healing modalities. And with learning those modalities, I became conscious of how sensitive I was and feeling energy around me. So I learned how to clear buildings and houses. So any houses I was in, or where I was working, or anywhere I was staying, I had learned how to clear them. Anyway, at the end of the 4 years, I left because I didn't like the way the healing was going in that school, and it just didn't feel right to me, so I left there. And at that time, Barry and I made a big decision to follow one of our dreams, and we moved to Queenstown. We just packed up within a couple of months and headed off down to Queenstown, not knowing anyone, and that was amazing. We had 6 years down there, and that was great. And that's where, being in that beautiful place, the scenery and the bush, I just feel so energised by being in the South Island. And that's where I had my connection with nature. And I found just any time I felt depressed, or I had big challenges, or things were just getting me down, I would head off out into the bush and just sort it all out. I'd just have all the answers and feel energised and feel motivated, and just come back and get on with it. And so while I was down there, I met a lady, a American lady, and she taught me how to do dowsing and working with the land and clearing the land. So putting with what I knew about clearing buildings, I put land healing together and started that as a business. Anyway, at the end of 6 years, Barry and I were ready to leave Queenstown, and I'd always said, never going to live in the city, never going to live in Auckland, and certainly not an apartment. However, Auckland was calling, so up we came. And I'm living in an apartment in Sydney Area Space, so I'm pretty close to the city. Anyway, being up in Auckland, I put an ad in the Ponsonby News about my land and house clearing, and a certain Zach Parrish rang me, who was working with him now, and Sally Anderson. and asked me to come along and have a meeting as to how I could be affiliated with Live Now. And that I went in, and next minute I was signed up to train as a co-facilitator with them. So I'm training to do co-facilitating for workshops and seminars. I'm also about to do my workshops, which are called Soul Healing Through Nature. So I need the confidence and the skills to stand up in front of people, speak, think on my feet, and that's how I come to be here tonight. And that's also giving you a bit of an insight as to who I am and what I do.